Why are you not losing body fat? You work out hard, you work out consistently, you say that you eat right, but you just can't shed that extra layer of body fat? It just may be that you're missing out on one of the key components of the metabolic equation. So today I'm gonna go over the general framework that you will need if you are looking to lose body fat. I'll explain to you why legs are such a vital component in that process and how you can increase your overall metabolism so that you burn fat when you're at rest just by adding exercises and intensity into your program. Now, if you tuned into last week's episode, you know that I talked about the most dominant body part that most people see when they first look at you. And of course, that turned out to be arms, biceps. This week, I want to talk about a muscle group that you may be skipping. That's one of the most important parts of the entire metabolic equation. And when I talk about metabolic equation, I'm talking about your metabolism, the way that your body burns fuel and burns energy. Now, if you're a guy, you know that one of the most difficult body parts to work are the legs. And most likely, if you see legs on your schedule, on your program, you might want to skip it. Now, why do you want to skip it? And why do most men want to skip leg day? There are a few reasons. One, it's extremely difficult. Two, it brings emotions of pain and discomfort. And most guys, we don't want to go through pain and discomfort. We want to get right to the good stuff. We want to get right to the stuff that we first see when we look at ourselves, our chest, our shoulders, our arms. We rarely look down at our legs to see what they look like. And it goes beyond what your legs look like. I don't care if you have skinny legs or big legs. Working legs contributes a gigantic amount to your overall metabolism. And why is that? Why is it that legs require more energy than the upper body? And for example, it's much harder and requires much more energy to perform a squat than it does laying down doing a chest press. And we all love to do bench press. Probably the first thing that you do when you go into the gym, you lay down on the bench and boom, you hit that chest press. While of course, neglecting the body part, or potentially neglecting the body part that contributes to the most energy expenditure in your entire workout. So why do legs require so much energy? They're bigger muscle groups. You've got the 4 muscles that make up the quadriceps. You've got the 3 muscles that make up the hamstrings. You've got the hips, glutes, calves, big muscle groups. And when you work them with compound exercises, they require a tremendous amount of energy. And what is energy? Calories, right? So it takes a lot of calories in order to perform proper leg work. Now, at the end of the day, if you expend more energy than you consume, you're gonna lose weight. And hopefully that weight comes off in the form of fat loss, because we certainly do not want muscle loss or muscle wasting. So when we're working legs and we've got this gigantic metabolic component, we're building muscle in the legs. And when we increase lean tissue, we therefore increase metabolism. So I've talked about this a lot in the past. There's been a lot of confusion about it. People don't understand when they see the title that says burn fat, shred fat, incinerate fat. They really don't understand how that ties into metabolism. So when I talk about burning fat, I'm talking about burning calories while you're performing bulk exercises for legs, increasing your metabolism, increasing lean tissue so that when you are done working out, you've got more lean tissue after we have muscle synthesis and growth, and then in turn we burn more calories at rest, and therefore burning more calories than taking in, we start to get into fat burning and overall metabolic effect. So I said earlier, it doesn't matter if you've got skinny legs or big legs, whatever it is, you still need to work legs. And people get confused. They look at their legs and go, my legs are skinny, I've been working my legs, I can't get them to grow, I'm really not gonna work them as much anymore. And then all of a sudden, that person who may not have had a pot belly, all of a sudden starts to develop a little bit of a pudge, a little bit of a pooch around the abs that they didn't have before when they were doing their leg workout. Again, that goes back to the metabolic component of working legs. Like any muscle group, legs can be very genetic. You may have predisposition to have big legs, you may have predisposition to have thinner legs, you may have predisposition to not have your legs grow at all, no matter what you do for them. But that's not a reason to not do them, and that's not a reason to quit. So when I talk about leg work in your program, there are multiple types of leg workouts that you can do. Some elicit more of a metabolic response than others. You've got compound exercises like squats, deadlifts, lunges, gigantic metabolic component, gigantic energy requirement to perform these exercises. And then you have exercises like leg extension and leg curls, single joint exercises. Don't discount them. they're extremely important. If I'm doing a leg extension and I'm performing 30 repetitions at a pretty significant weight and high volume, I'm gonna burn a lot of calories. I'm gonna walk off that leg extension machine or crawl off that leg extension machine going, my God, I just crushed my legs and I can barely walk. Same thing goes for single joint hamstring curls, seated leg curls, prone leg curls, whatever it is. Those exercises are extremely important because they do help build strength for the compound exercises. And of course, we don't want to forget the calves. Calves, like forearms, are extremely genetic as well. You'll see guys work their calves all day long and they look like toothpicks. You'll see other guys not touch them and they look like turkey legs. You still need to work your calves. They're a gigantic component in all the other compound lifts that you do. Ankle strength is extremely important. Do not neglect the calves. Make them part of an overall well-rounded program. Now we can talk about legs and we can talk about exercises all day long, but we all know if your diet and nutrition are not right, it probably won't happen. Now that doesn't mean that your nutrition and your diet has to be on point all of the time. Mine is not, and I've talked about it at length. Probably one of the biggest questions I get every day, what kind of food do you eat? What do you eat? When do you eat? For me, I've been eating healthy, or what I consider healthy, since I was about 8 years old. If you've watched any of my other videos, you already know that. If you're new, I eat intuitively. I don't follow diets. I don't count calories. I don't count micros, macros, any of that stuff. So what I found over the years, I've been in the personal training business for over 30 years, and what I found, people that count everything and that are so meticulous with it, number one, don't live a great quality of life. Number two, they rarely see the results that they want. And why is that? Why don't they see the results that they want? Is it because they look too hard at it? Is it because they're constantly thinking about what they need to do, as opposed to, and again, I'm just throwing this out there, someone like me who eats intuitively. Eating intuitively is not for everyone, but I think that it should be and it can be. Now everyone's the same at the end of the day. If you take in more calories than you expend, you will gain weight. The virtue is gaining muscle weight as opposed to fat weight. And that's the tough part. And that's where exercise and intensity level and volume and proper programming comes into play. There is one macro that I keep track of, and I don't keep track of it religiously. I just have a general idea of how much I take in, and that is protein. The general rule of thumb that I use is 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. So, I'm 5'8", I weigh 170 pounds. I typically try to get in somewhere around 170 grams of protein daily. Do I get 170 grams in every day? I don't know. But intuitively, I know if my lifts are not getting stronger, or they're getting a lot weaker, or I'm fatigued, I may not have enough protein, I may not have enough total calories, I may not have enough carbohydrates and fats. Again, I don't count all of those things. I get asked regularly how many calories I take in. I'll give you a roundabout, maybe 2,500 calories. On a really big day, I may consume 3,000. But at the end of the day, I believe in the set point theory. That's the theory that your body, no matter how much or how little you eat, will gravitate towards a specific weight. For me, consistency with scale weight over the years has been easy. My body gravitates towards a specific weight, and that's about 170 pounds. Now, I do have to work a little bit harder, since I'm a hard gainer, to maintain that 170 pounds. If I don't, I can easily see my scale weight start to go down. Most likely I'm either going into muscle wasting, since I don't have much body fat. I carry low body fat all year round. I'm not concerned with it. The only check and balance that I do on a regular basis is when I brush my teeth. I look in the mirror, I look at my stomach, I do a little pinch here, a little pinch there, and I decide, is this okay? Am I comfortable with this? Is this how I want to look? And if it is, great. And I just do these quick checks every single day, just so that nothing creeps up on me. And I see that a lot with people. They let things creep up. You could go 3-4 weeks of unhealthy eating, going out to restaurants, drinking a lot of alcohol, consuming junk calories, and you've been working out during this time, and you think that you deserve all these extra calories, and that may be fine, and that may be true, but all of a sudden, the 3rd, 4th week, you come back to me and you say, I don't understand. I've been working out, I've been eating right, and I can't lose this belly fat. This belly fat just won't go away. And most likely, at the end of the day, It's you that has to look in the mirror and say, did I do everything that I possibly could do to lose this body fat, or have I really not done enough? And that's a question that you're gonna have to ask yourself. I know for me, I do everything on a daily basis to keep my physique exactly how I want it. It may not be how someone else wants it. Again, it's very personal. Decide what you want to look like and then live your life that way. I've said this before. Mental imagery, mindset is key. If you really want to put a dent in your body fat, you've got to be aware of everything and not let it creep up on you. So tying everything in, keep your goals in mind when working legs. If you're a hard gainer, you have to make sure you take in an adequate amount of calories post-workout. If you don't, you will lose even more. If you're trying to lose body fat, and we're trying to increase our metabolism with the addition of strenuous leg work, you don't want to overconsume. So understanding, making a mind-body connection of how much work you've actually performed versus how many calories you really need to put in post-workout. Now, as a general rule of thumb, most people grossly overestimate the amount of actual physical work that they do, and they underestimate the amount of calories and food that they take in. So at the end of the day, there's a disconnect between brain and body. Body knows it hasn't done much work, brain thinks it has. Body knows that it doesn't need any more food, brain thinks it does. So you've got to make that mind-body connection in order to make sure that everything evens out. Now on the flip side, not everyone is cut out to do intuitive eating. I think it would be great if everybody could. That's what I do, as I've said before. If you can't intuitively eat and you really just don't understand the process, there are fitness apps, there are logbooks that you can track all of your caloric activity, your macros, your micros, all of that stuff. Write it down, log it. I've noticed with my clients, those that really don't make the mind-body connection, they think they're eating great. When they actually write down what they're eating, they realize it's not what they thought it was. Now, if you've absorbed everything that I told you today, the one thing that I do want you to take out of it is not to overthink it. Let it become part of your lifestyle. Let it become something that you do, just like brushing your teeth. You do it every day, you don't have to think about it, and you know it's good for you. So don't overthink things, and everything should work out right. But again, make the mind-body connection. If you go into denial and you forget about what you're doing and you're not vigilant every day with what your goals are and how to get there, then it certainly will not happen. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to subscribe. This is exclusive content that you will not see on any of my other platforms. I look forward to seeing you next week.